The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media. Welcome to Season 5 of Level Up Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Levy. I'm here to guide you on a journey of personal growth and fulfillment. Join me as we delve into the challenges of both business and personal life, aiming to discover our true selves and connect more deeply with the world around us. On this podcast, we'll explore the topics that inspire and empower us to become the best version of ourselves. From book reviews to interviews with iconic individuals, we'll have insightful conversations that resonate with your journey. And a big thank you to our sponsors, the Boys and Girls Club of America, Greater Conejo Valley, and Levy's Deli for supporting the show and helping us bring these valuable discussions to you. Please share, rate, and review the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. You can also leave your comments at Kimberly Levy on social media. Thank you for your feedback and thank you for listening. Hello and welcome back. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for joining me. And for those of you that have been here, I am so grateful that you've come to join me. I love our time together, as you guys know. And if you're new around here, welcome on in. And today I want to talk to you about why chasing money is missing the entire point of life. Okay, so recently I've had really interesting conversations with some of my clients, some of my colleagues, employees, people that are older than me as well. And I've had some really interesting conversations around money in the context of the grand scheme of things. And I think this is a super important discussion to have with you guys. So a lot of the conversations with people that I am around have been so interesting to me because several of us have finally gotten to this place where we realize that money is absolutely not where it's all at. And I want to say this first before I dive in. So I think that that's easy to say if you have enough money to sustain your life comfortably. However, I also want to talk about what I call the margin of diminishing returns, which is an economics term. So sorry for the technical speak, but it's truly the best way that I could kind of express the concept. So put very simply, money is valuable and important until it's not. So it's valuable and meaningful and important to have money to a certain point. And after that point, it becomes what I call the margin of diminishing returns because generally making more money is tied with trading your time and sacrificing things in your personal life. And I'm at the point now where I've had enough life experiences and have had enough different jobs and career paths where I'm actually really clear about where I stand on this. And it's just a sentiment that I'm hoping that it helps you take pause and really critically think through the value you place on money and also where that fits into your overall life choices in terms of your career. Too many times we place money above our happiness and we don't even realize when we're doing it. It's actually insidious and it sneaks up on us, which is why I think this conversation is actually so important. And I'm so glad I get to have it with you guys. So the way that I see money after you are able to cover your basic bills and your expenses, I think we have to be really careful about where we choose to put our time and our energy. And I think a lot of us just kind of get caught in the rat race of like, you know what? I have to work. I need this job. And we tell ourselves these fake stories and it's not true. Like it's actually a lie. It's actually these narratives that we enable ourselves with are completely fake. And they're narratives we tell ourselves, I think, because one, it keeps us comfortable and safe. And two, I also think that it gives us an excuse to not change. And I know that's a little bit of tough love on you guys, but I have to tell you, I really do believe this. So here's an example. I had an employee once that was clearly unhappy. And I basically pulled him aside and I said, honestly, you have enough experience at this point. You've been in this industry for nearly your entire career. You have enough experience to walk out the door and go find another job that is in the same industry, that is similar pay. And heck, even if you take a slight pay cut, honestly. And if you're not happy, why are you doing this? Like, leave. I'm telling you, I really think that if you're that unhappy, you should find another job. And he was, of course, as you can imagine, stunned to hear the boss say that. Now, I wasn't firing him at all, but I said to him, look, as a friend, because I could just sense, and candidly, everybody in the room could sense, he was just not a happy employee. And it brought down the energy and the vibe of the whole of like all of our meetings and just so many different interactions and things. And it just was like, all I could see was like, it wasn't even the impact it was having on our team, which is what I think most bosses would be looking at. It wasn't even that. It was like, you're not a happy person here. And it actually really made me feel bad for him. And so, look, I know this is easier said than done, but I really do want to blow this out of the water and really be honest and get you guys to critically look at the way you're spending your time. And the reason for that is because our time is precious. Our time is limited. And if you're not 100% happy, I don't believe in staying still. And I love the quote, you're not a tree, you're not stuck. And I think that really getting clear on the fact that money is energy. Money, like if you're an entrepreneur, and this was such a beautiful, awesome conversation I got to have today with one of my clients, that she wants to make sure that she hits multiple seven figures and so on and so forth. And she said, look, it's not so much that it's not that I need the money. That's not the point. I said, sure, I know what you're saying. You're driving. She said, it's me proving what I'm capable of. And I said, I totally get that. And I said, but really what it is that's even more than that, besides you proving it to yourself that you can do it, it's really so much more than that. It's actually, money in that context is validation. It's validation for your impact, how many people you were able to touch. And that is what it's all about. And I think so many of us spend so much time so afraid to go after what it is that we really want. And we're so afraid to like lose money or take a step back. But honestly, once you get to a certain point, it's like, wait a minute, am I going to literally work a terrible job, spending at least 40 hours a week at a terrible job that I hate, so that what? I can go on another trip. I can buy another purse. I can buy a nicer car, a bigger house. I mean, like I said, at some point, it's important that, especially if you are making more money, this is actually even more important for you, because it's so easy to get caught up in the next level. You could start off making $30,000 like myself, get your salary up to 34 like myself, and make your way through the ranks and make a couple $100,000 a year and feel like you're amazing, and then realize, wait a minute, there's still the next level. What about the 300,000, 400,000, 500,000? Let me tell you guys, it's not where it's at. And even if you are literally worth hundreds of millions of dollars, there's always the next level, always. There's always, even like you guys can read those Forbes articles. Oh, this week, Jeff Bezos is the richest guy. Oh, then it's Mark Zuckerberg, or, whatever the numbers are. I don't really follow that stuff, but there's always the headline of like the battle of the billionaires. And it's like so unimportant at the end of your life. It truly is not where it's at. And I've had some really big losses this year, and I will share more of that eventually, but it's not appropriate now. But I'm telling you, as somebody that has physically lost people, I can tell you it has never been more clear or more apparent that chasing a dollar is not the way to live your life. I promise you it's not. And even if that means you go on less trips or you buy less luxury goods, whatever the it thing is for you, which I'm not one to judge how people spend their money because I think it's totally up to them. But like I said, if it comes with this margin of diminishing returns, meaning, okay, I've hit this certain point of money that has really enabled me to live my life awesomely. Like I can pay for my kids, their activities, I can feed my family, I have a good enough house, I have a decent, stable, reliable car. At some point, you keep on that grind and you keep reaching for that next level, and you will find yourself chasing the dollar. And oftentimes, almost always, it will come at the expense of your personal time. You find yourself away from your children, you're not exercising, whatever the sort of that negative impact becomes. That's the point where you have to really become hyper aware and make some hard decisions about your life and what you're really going for. So I walked away from a job that was incredibly high paying, and it's because it ended up being really toxic. And I just was like, this is not how I want to spend my life. I don't care what the dollar amount is. And let me tell you, it was a handsome dollar figure. I would say 99.999% of people would not have the balls and the character and the conviction to step away from an income like that because it wasn't the right fit. Because it just was not the highest and best use of my time and my life. And especially being young and healthy and vibrant, unfortunately, all living things do die. Okay? And that's the reality. And it's like, I really just want to, if I can make an impact on you today, it's really to help you, just remind you not to chase money. That if you're working on something, like, it's okay if you want to make a lot of money. I'm not demonizing that. It's just be clear about the role it's truly playing in your life and the expenses or trade-offs. Trade-offs is the great way to say it. What trade-offs do you have to make that income? So like for me, I want to build a business that is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That's my goal. And the reason for that is because yes, I want to prove it to myself. But two, it's so much deeper than that. It's not about the dollars. It's about the reach. It's about the impact. And I know that the dollars it's a validation. It is a material way of signifying the impact I will be able to make in launching hopefully hundreds of podcasts through my business. And that matters to me because I'm so passionate about launching people's dreams. I'm launching their absolute highest and best, scariest dreams to really help them reach an audience where they can really make an impact to hundreds, thousands, in some cases, millions of people. That really means something to me, that I am building something, and I'm building a company that is so rooted in strong values in, one, helping people achieve their own dreams of having their own brand, their own business, their own voice in their podcast. And so that's like checkpoint one for me, is helping the individual the individuals that I get to help directly achieve their dreams of reaching other people. And then the secondary piece of that is like, I know that when they launch their voice and their brand, they are going to reach so many people and help so many people, whether it's entertaining, education, whatever their niche is. It doesn't even matter. It's just that they get to give themselves away to the world authentically. I mean, there's nothing better than that. So whether you are, like for me, I took a huge financial step back, right? Like I'm walking the walk. I am someone sitting here truly every single day walking this walk. And that's why I feel so passionate about authentically sharing this with you, is like, for me to walk away from such a high paying job and to literally dig deep into my own pockets, nobody else being my safety net, to dig into my own personal savings and to pour it, boldly to pour it, and to take such a big leap and a risk, to literally put my entire life savings on the line to launch a business because I believe so strongly in making a real impact and doing something that I believe in and that I love so much, like something I'm truly passionate about doing, that I enjoy every day. And like, hopefully another goal is like another big reason why, for me, I have a goal of like a huge business is because I also want to provide jobs to people. That matters to me. It matters that I get to create a business where I actually employ other people, and hopefully it's in an environment that is uplifting, that is motivating, that's inspiring, that's empowering, that makes them feel purpose and valued. That really does matter to me so, so much. So like, I am very clear why I want to get to a certain goal. And I also have set really clear boundaries around my time. Like, I am not missing my kids' activities for my business. I'm not doing that. There's no dollar amount, there's no client, no celebrity, no amount of money that's going to drag me away from my priorities in my personal life anymore. I've already done that. I've done it for my first, half of my life where I was building myself. So I'm sharing all of this with you guys, and I really hope you're hearing me, is like, if you're not the richest person in the world, it's all good. Remember, I grew up as a latchkey kid. I grew up with very little money. Now, we weren't dirt poor. No, we weren't. But I did not have any bells and whistles. And let me tell you, I had a phenomenal upbringing. We didn't have fancy trips. We didn't have fancy cars. I didn't have fancy this, that, and the other. I didn't. It's just like, it just wasn't like we didn't get to eat out, And I got to tell you, I have no regrets about that. None. It didn't harm me at all to have less material things because my parents had such strong values in our home, and we created so much joy between us, and work ethic and character and fun and just awesome, creativity and things like that. Like when you can't afford to buy a Halloween costume, like you have to make it, it's stuff like that, right? Let me tell you, it was not bad. So look, I'm very happy, and I would love for you to be in a place where you're financially comfortable. Absolutely. Like, I want that for you. But I just want to also remind you that, one, if you're not there yet, please don't compare yourself to others. This nonsense on Instagram about all the fancy things is just, it's really, my dad said to me the other day, this was really something. And I have to say, he said, something? Money is it's all an illusion. Because at the end of your life, it literally doesn't matter. Like, you cannot take it with you. It does not define you. It doesn't make friends like you more or love you more genuinely. And if it does, you're obviously with the wrong friends. And like, it was such a grounding comment, like money is an illusion. And I'm here to just totally shatter that for you and let you know, if you don't have the Birkin, you don't have the fancy car, you don't have the high paying job, you are good enough. It does not define you. What defines you is how you treat other people, period. How do you light up other people? How do you give to them? How do you pour into them? How do you just respect people, like all people? And here's another thing, and I'm not super religious, but I was in temple, and I thought this was a really great thing that I read. And I don't know if it was out of the Bible or just part of the service or whatever, but there's part of, I think it is out of the Bible maybe, but it says there's holiness in giving to people that can never repay you. And I was like, yes, there is. When you do something for someone, small or big in your day, and you give in a way, whether it's, through love, through an act of kindness, through a tip, you're paying them a tip or something, and you give to people that you will never receive back from, there is holiness in that. And that is sacred. And whether or not you're religious, it doesn't even matter. The idea is that that's precious. There's beauty in that. And like, especially if you're a parent, you're sharing that idea and that value system with your children. So look, yes, I've had a lot of cool, fancy experiences, and I think that has been really cool. But as someone that's kind of done all those fancy things, I promise you that is not where life is at. And I just hope that this inspires you to, just check your character and check your values and just make sure that you're checking in with yourself to be like, am I doing what I'm passionate about doing? Am I in a job I love? Am I spending my time the way that I want to spend it? or am I chasing money for the things? So I hope that this somehow inspires you, elevates you, motivates you, infuses you with, a new thought, or maybe gives you some version of inspiration to make a change in your life in whatever that looks like for you. But it's something that was on my heart, and it's something I really believe so strongly in. And I'm so blessed and so proud and so honored and grateful that I've had these realizations and I get to share them all with you. So thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, please share it, rate it, leave a comment. We need more comments. We need more reviews, all the things. DM me at Kimberly Levy. If you want to launch your podcast, contact me. I'm your girl. I love to do it, and I'd love to launch yours. With that, have a beautiful rest of your day. All right. That is it for today. Thank you very much for listening, and be sure to follow us at Iconic Nation Media and send us a direct message and comment on some of our posts so that we can hear your feedback and incorporate them into our show. We appreciate you listening, and we look forward to catching you next week.